So guys, all those who protested against the Jonathan's government, back then, they've started coming out to confess one after the other that they regretted, protesting against Jonathan. People like Tinubu and the rest of them, they all came out protesting against Jonathan's government for removing fuel subsidy. So this one of Tinubu's very strong loyalist, and he has come out to say, oh, they didn't know that this is how leadership is in Nigeria, how difficult it is in Nigeria, that it was a big mistake for them to have even protested against the Jonathan's government. So guys, I want you to take your time, watch this video to the end to see all the things that this man said in this video that will leave you in shock. Just take a look at this.
I'll give an example. While we were in opposition, I remember very well Jonathan when he was trying to, when he increased the price of petrol pump price. We were all over the country demonstrating against what he did. Now we know better. Now we know better that, look, the government cannot continue to subsidize petroleum products. Simple. So these are kind of things that I'm saying, that while you are in opposition, there are certain things. While you're not in government, there are certain things that you don't know. But when you get in there, the reality will stare you on the face, and then you do the right thing.
But it looks like there is this growing coalition against President Bola Tinubu, particularly from the north. And we've seen this series of visits to former President Muhammadu Buhari, almost his own becoming a Mecca of sorts. So you had former Vice President, former governor who was in your party, now in the SDP, and a group of people, powerful people from the north, visiting him, and they said, well, it's not for this reason and that, but you can't remove the fact that there is this growing dissension against President Bola Tinubu in the north. From where you sit, yes, from Jigawa State, have you seen this? What do you think is responsible for it? And do you think the president can withstand this coming storm?
Well, when you talk about dissenting voices from the north, this is what I call connivance of the elites. And I call on the public, the masses of this country, to start teaching us a lesson as elites. Look at all those people, so-called people against Tinubu from the northern part of the country. Let me take Nasir El-Rufai, for example. This was the same person who came out all over the place saying that the North shall vote for Tinubu, and that any northerner who does not agree to vote for Tinubu is just not a good northerner. He did everything, he abused everybody. Now, Tinubu got elected. Something happened, of course he was promised ministerial appointment, it didn't happen, whatever. All of a sudden he has moved to opposition now. So, is it about our country? Is it about the party? Or is it about self-interest? So you could see that all these people, it's their personal interest. That's why I said, look, the people need to start teaching us a lesson, the elites. Because we, the elites of this country, were one and the same. Whenever anything does not go well with you, you just start bringing the religious kite, flying the religious kite, or the ethnic kite, and so on and so forth. Now, the North gave President Bola Tinubu votes, and the North will continue to, because look, it has got nothing to do with where you come from. If in the wisdom of some of my leaders from the North feel they don't want Tinubu again, okay, let's wait for the time to come. It is not political time now, it's governance time. And they can go ahead and continue to criticize or continue to align themselves, and then when the time comes, we are also northerners. There are northerners that can die for Tinubu, somebody like me, and we are all proteges of Muhammadu Buhari. I, Farouk Adamu Aliyu, if you are going to mention 5 people that started with President Muhammadu Buhari, I'm certainly one of them. I'm with Tinubu, Buhari is with Tinubu, and as of today, one of the most influential northerners, or the very most influential northerner in this country, is President Muhammadu Buhari. And he had never ever deviated from working or aligning himself with President Tinubu. So when I said we, most people that matter, that are with Buhari, would certainly work with Tinubu. And as I said, it is all a matter of self-centeredness. I mean, they have lost out. My friend El-Rufai is a very close friend of mine. He has lost out, and so he thinks he wants to belong. So the best way for him to do is to move to. the best way for him to do is to move to the opposition. Well, so be it. We are waiting for them, and I just hope we'll continue to play politics clean manner, so that for the betterment of this country. And then look, at the time when the time comes, if the people of this country, in their wisdom, they don't want President Bola Tinubu, so be it. But that does not mean because you don't want Tinubu, you will start talking nonsense about him or whatever, and so on and so forth. Start saying that he doesn't like the Northerners and so on, which is not true. It is not true. My friend Nasru El-Rufai didn't know that Tinubu did not like the Northerners until now, when he doesn't have an appointment. I mean, I'm a shining example of, look, if you want help this country, if you want to help democracy, you don't have to be in government. The last time I had official as a government position was in 2007. I had never stopped campaigning or speaking for President Buhari. I will never stop speaking for President Bola Tinubu. But whenever things are done wrong, we don't come on television station and start talking about what we did wrong. We go into the room, we have access, we tell the president, we tell to power, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows me very well. I can look at him in the face and tell him the truth. But I don't need to come to channels or any other place to say this is what he's doing that is wrong.
If I may comment, Mr. Farouk, so let's take two things in one. First, is it that he lost out? I'm talking about Nasser El-Rufai. Did he lose out, or he was not carried along? So maybe you answer that question. But the more important question for me is the reality of Nigerians' quality of life under President Bola Tinubu. Life is hard. Life is difficult. Fundamentally, what used to be basic is almost now becoming a luxury. In fact, it is a luxury. Electricity, the price of food, and all of that. These are the things that are important to Nigerians. Since you speak for the government, whether officially or unofficially, don't you think that this is the time? He's going to do his midterm in a few weeks. Let me just use a few weeks from now, because May 29, just next month. It's time to begin to look at a way to review some of his direction and policy direction to see how Nigerians can be better. The purchasing power, we may be 200 million, but what's the purchasing power of the average Nigerian? Those are the critical issues. We could banter the big numbers. I'm familiar with economics and my background of the macroeconomics data. Oh, debt to revenue has improved. I know all of that. Our FX has improved. What do you call it now? Our reserve, although unencumbered, is about 23 billion. We know all of those big things. We can talk about it. But what is important to the man I live here and speak on the street and all of that is his quality of life before Tinubu came to power and what it is right now. That is what is important.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree with you. The quality of life is not better than before Tinubu came on board. But then what are the issues? I mean, first of all, Nigeria is not an island. Nigeria is also a part of the global community. These challenges that we find in this country are happening in all parts of the world. Now, how do we go about it? That's exactly what the government is trying to do now. Of course, there are difficulties. Of course, things are not getting better as at today. But there are some indices that, yes, certainly at the end of the tunnel there will be light. I mean, you remember when the former president spoke about going back to the farm. People have trooped back to the farm, and things are improving gradually. Whether this is how the government wants it, certainly not. Certainly people are suffering. Certainly there are challenges. Certainly people are not happy. But then if are there things that the government is doing deliberately to make these happenings? No. The government is up and about. You could see how the government is trying to control the foreign exchange. You could see how foreign investment is coming into the country. You could see how infrastructure is being done in this country. You could see how more monies are going to the states. So, but when issues come, people talk about federal government. Forgetting the fact that we also have the states. What makes the union, all of us. So there are Certainly there are challenges in this country. Certainly there are difficulties. But just like what I said, these things, are they deliberately done to hurt the people? No. These things are done deliberately to make sure that, look, my children, our grandchildren, will not be in this kind of situation in no distance, in the distant future.
So you admit that life is difficult under President Tinubu's government. You admit
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. Life is difficult.
Right.
I do.
And you admit that Nigerians have a right to voice their displeasure without being clamped down. They can protest peacefully without being clamped down upon.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
It doesn't take away the fact that you...
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it doesn't take away the fact that there's still some other things that the president has done that you within his party should be able to speak to it, especially because he has a national impact. And I'll speak to the state of emergency in Rivers State. For example, you stood against, you've said that time and again, the third term bid of former President Olusegun Obasanjo when you were in the ANPP, because for you, you didn't say it in the Constitution, and you've talked about how you rejected lots of money and all of that. And now we see a president who is doing what a lot of people have said is unconstitutional. Whether you're in the APC or the PDP or the Labour Party, the Constitution is quite clear. Why, again, is it that we don't see people from within the party coming out to speak to the Constitution, regardless of the fact that you are in the APC or not? Have you looked at that issue? Have you looked at the Constitution? Is that something that you find curious, Honorable?
Yeah, you see, it's also subjective what you're saying. That's why people need to go and get interpretation. Whether what the president did is totally, completely unconstitutional, that it's left for the courts to decide. But you see, as a president, you do not sit by and watch your country disintegrate. The political situation in Rivers certainly calls for drastic measures. Now, whether the measures taken were the right ones is left for the Rivers people to see. But from my position here, I think what the president did was right, honestly. To put state of emergency there so that the prime actors will sit together and know that, look, there's somebody with a big stick. That if you try to bring the roof down on all of us, somebody should tell you that, look, hey, calm down, look at it, and so on. And look, I think the people of River State need to be supported by all of us. All of us, I mean the whole Nigeria, need to support them in such a way that there will be peace, because politicians are the architects of the problem in this country. And you could see, even in that River State, it is a matter of self, because it's fight between Wike and Fubara, which means if you look at it, it's like a family matter. Now, should the president sit by and allow them to continue to fight? Just like what the Attorney General said, that the government took action so that not to further bring problem in River State. Because if, God forbid, that the State Assembly had gone ahead to impeach Fubara, there could be bloodshed.
Right. Mr. Farouk.
And Mr. President did this thing to ensure that, look, the issues in Rivers do not degenerate into fisticuffs.
Mr. Farouk, two things. Just as we wind down, we just have about 2 minutes to go. So we know the Supreme Court is going to make their own interpretation, but there's nothing in the Constitution that gives a role to sole administrator. All of us can agree to that. The argument here is the suspension of elected officials in terms of the president. The president has the power. 305 gives him the power to declare a state of emergency. Discretional latitude as to whether he can suspend elected officials is a different kettle of fish, which is not in the Constitution, which the Supreme Court will have to help us decide how far he can go, because Section 1, Subsection 2 of the Constitution is very clear on how Nigeria should be governed. So I would like you to speak to that as well, because at the end of the day, it's going to be a constitutional issue, which you said is subjective as far as this is concerned. We're running a federation in that sense. Else we may have to unknowingly raise dictatorship if we're not careful. So in your view, when the Constitution is not quite clear on some of these things, how far can one go in protecting the lives and property of people, in your view?
You see, I want you to also understand that our Constitution also sometimes speaks from both sides of the cheek. Some, like the president, yes, if you look at the Constitution, the president has no powers to do what he did in Rivers. But then if you flip the other side, you remember we had doctrine of necessity in this country. So in the wisdom of Mr. President, if he thinks doing this was the best thing, he did it, and at least there is peace in Rivers. But if the Supreme Court says, look, Mr. President, what you did is wrong, I'm sure he will quickly return to status quo.
Established, this period there has been some movement and defections and all of that. You are still a bona fide member of the APC. I want to be clear on that.
Absolutely, a very senior member of the party.
All right, fantastic. It looks like with what we're seeing playing out, because there's a lot to explain, expatiate on this particular conversation. So let's begin with party politics in the first instance. It looks like what is playing out now, we've seen what is going on in the PDP. We've seen what is going on with the Labour Party. At least those are the two leading opposition. I can talk about the NNPP as well. In one end, there's also an issue in that area at some point. It looks like the APC seems to be the stable political party as we speak. Is the APC really stable just because this is the ruling party? The stakes are a little bit higher if anything happens in terms of division and disagreement.
Well, APC is stable, of course. Certainly more stable than other political parties in this country. And but in politics, you will always have disagreements. You will always have people who will not agree with one another. But then we, as a party, the APC, one, we're the ruling party, so there are more things binding us together than dividing us. So I guess that also helps the party. And unfortunately, the other parties really they are not doing well because there is no viable democracy without opposition. So it pains me how I see these political, the opposition parties, the way they are behaving in this country, honestly. We were once in opposition and we did what we could to entrench democracy in this country, to oppose the government, to objective analysis of policies of government and so on, for the good of all of us. But unfortunately, they are all bickering, fighting one another and so on, realigning and so on, wasting the people the time of Nigeria. And because when they are not concentrating in checking us in what we do in government, because look, no matter how good our policies are, the party in opposition is supposed to come with alternative methods or criticize what we're doing for the betterment of the country, so that people will get the best of the system. But unfortunately, in their own wisdom, they feel they will continue with infighting, which is not good for the country, not good for democracy as well.
All right, Mr. Farouk, two things I want to ask in one. But the broad question will be, in your view, because I know you are not afraid to speak your mind, what is the President Bola Tinubu administration doing wrong in your view as a member of your party? As you've agreed by your own statement, it can never be perfect. There's always something to do better, something to learn from. And when you talk about being critical of the government, there's a perception that this government is quite hostile to dissenting voices. And there are many instances to that effect. And they are not doing great at managing dissenting voices. Some may argue to the contrary. But in your view, what is this government doing wrong that you feel like, no, this is not our playbook? Those are some of the assertions by Nasser El-Rufai, which is why he said he left the party.
Well, you see, it's not in my place to criticize my government, really, absolutely. This is the role of the opposition. The opposition is supposed to come out with criticism of us, of what we do. I can't sit here and tell you this is what I think is not good. Of course, there are challenges in any system. I can tell you, when we were in the opposition, there are so many things we said, we did. We did it differently because we are not in government. But now when we're in government, We found out certain things that we had assumptions were wrong. So now these are things we are trying to do. So to me, Bola Tinubu is doing very well. To me, Bola Tinubu is doing his best. To me, that's why he's elected.
Song which the NBC clamped down on. I hope you can hear me, Mr. Farouk.
Well, maybe now I can hear you now, but before I couldn't hear you.
Pardon me. So we just had a conversation with Idris Abdul Karim. I don't know if you caught that, a Nigerian musician whom the NBC clamped down on his song, where he was basically just venting, like the everyday Nigerian, talking about the economy, insecurity, and the rest. So when people hear you say that this government is doing well, and they look at what they say, the situation on the ground, would you say it's because, yet again, you're a member of the APC? Does that preclude you from speaking the minds of the people, at least from the experience of your people?
No, listen. I mean, first of all, I totally don't agree with the NBC. To me, they were too overzealous. To me, they didn't do well. To me, they're not doing well, because what they did is certainly wrong. I mean, free speech, people are supposed to come out and criticize us. You should, honestly, I hope the government will speak to them, the Minister of Information in particular, will tell them what they did is wrong. You know, I mean, he should come out and say whatever. Anybody can come out and say anything, but then there are lines that people should not cross. Simple. There are lines one shouldn't cross in trying to, you know, with your fundamental rights or freedom of speech and so on and so forth. Now, coming to the government, whether I'm not part of all the issues and so on, of course, as a Nigerian, there are challenges. As a government also, we have challenges in governance. And just like what I told you earlier.
All right, so I know the Rattles will be proud of this. So Rattles, this is our proud moment. Now, towards the end of the meeting we had with nnamdi yesterday, in order to bring back those girls that are stuck in Ivory Coast as a result of human trafficking, I promise on behalf of the whole Rattles, through the Martins Vincent Hotel initiative, to help support nnamdi with 20 million naira in order to bring back those girls and other victims of trafficking stuck in other parts of the world. So I promised them 20 million naira, and today the money have been transferred to nnamdi. So as you can see, through the account number 13136790008, which is the NGO account, with the account name Martin Vincent Hotel Initiative, the branch that transferred the money 278 Sultan Abubakar, dates 11 April 2025. As you can see, the account that it was transferred to is Info nnamdi Donor Partner account, and the description is donation to help combat human trafficking and rehabilitation of trafficked Nigerian victims. So as you can see, the amount is 20 million naira transferred to nnamdi on behalf of Rattles and the Martin Vincent Hotel initiative. Yes, on behalf of all of us, because now I contribute that money when make that money did that account. Now I had to do this because I needed to do it. nnamdi are charged with a lot of responsibilities with a little funding, which is very, very sad. I'm telling you, which is very, very sad. Now, I want to give a special shout out before I say what I want to say. I want to give a special shout out to the Nigerian community in Ivory Coast, because they contributed a lot in bringing thousands of girls back to this country. They have contributed a lot, and also to the Nigerian embassy in Ivory Coast. The only problem they are having there is also funding. They can do a lot, but there's no funding. So I also want to urge the federal government to also try and fund the Nigerian embassy in Ivory Coast, and also support the Nigerian community in Ivory Coast, because they are doing a lot for those girls. They are doing a lot and a lot for those girls. So this money is going to go in, like I said, to help bring back other victims and these girls that I was opportune to meet. That being said, I really want to also urge the government to put a pressure on the immigration to help us with our borders. Every day, over 200 girls, over 200 boys leave this country. Every blessed day they leave this country. It is scary. It is very, very scary. Your male son, your male child can be coming back home today, they go carry on. Your female, your child, your girl child can be coming back home, they go carry on. Do you understand? And who do you run to? We know if we charge all this we cannot put all this responsibility only on nnamdi. We all have to work together in order to make this country great. Do you understand? That being said, trafficking is not only when they carry the person leave Nigeria alone. Trafficking still they happen interstate. There are interstate trafficking where they move a child from Abuja to Lagos to go and do hard labor. And you don't want to know what happens to these children when they leave their home. A lot of times they use these children for sexual pleasures, which is very, very sad. Do you understand? They carry all this as low as 10, 11. I can't even say the age because it's doing me somehow. It's irritating me. Do you understand? We need to put hands together. And also the federal government, all these children where they for road, they beg. Please find solution. Please find solution. You are driving on the road and you are on the hold up. I've been hold up. You did traffic. Next thing you go see small picking, they knock door, they beg you. Next thing you see small children, those are the victims. Those are also victims of trafficking. Traffickers. Those are also traffickers victims. Sorry, I know if you talk where the vex, they talk with you, and I don't want to sound rude because I'm going to cost people. Do you understand? It's annoying. All those small children, they carry them. Sometimes, and then you see, say they remove their organs. Sometimes they carry all those girls, keep them in a place, wait for them to grow to the right age, and then start doing baby factory from them. All those women, all those girls, they'll wait, make them mature, they'll feed them when they don't grow, they'll start use them for baby factory. They'll give birth, they'll collect the child from them. This whole thing is a big problem, and the government needs to start paying attention to it. Please, we need serious policing on our borders. Please, immigration only rights to the check. Only rice, only contraband. The one I go gain from inside. Rice, contraband. Hey, this is contraband. I go seize rice. When I go seize food stuff. When I know they even check who they come country and who they leave country. Children, they go. It is scary. The government needs to do something about this. The government needs to do something about this. The government needs to do something about this. Please. So hopefully those girls will be back in Nigeria. Hopefully. And shout out to the Nigerian embassy in Ivory Coast. And shout out to the Nigerian community in Ivory Coast. Thank you very much. God bless you. And we will continue working together in order to protect our girl child. And not just our girl child, even our children generally in Nigeria. So a lot of them say, I say then the boys, they carry them there and they use them to go and beg. My God. I don't just know, man. You talk now, they'll say they talk rudely. But there are a lot of names that I want to call. They're supposed to do the right thing. They will not do it. I don't know. Anyways, 20 million have been sent. Thank you to the Rattles. And account number have been dropped also on that. When I know our account number, when I still want support, when I feed one. You understand? The account number did the screen. Alright, so the trending news that seems to be getting a lot of youths excited, have been trending since yesterday. It says US court has ruled that FBI and anti-drug agency should no longer withhold information regarding Tinubu's drug-related investigation and ordered its release. Reasons, other details are in the comments. Now, a lot of people are happy about this. But you people are not thinking outside the box, and I don't know why you are excited. First of all, if the US wants to release Tinubu drug cases, they will not tell you. They will just release it. Unless, if Tinubu is currently being blackmailed, think about it. If they want to release this information, they will release it. Secondly, why is it now that they are planning to release it? During the election and during when the whole quest for looking for evidence that Tinubu actually dealt in drugs, you know, back then, they refused to release it. Why now? Like I said, Mona they fear the Westerners. If you don't learn anything, Mona learn from what happened to Goodluck Jonathan and Barack Obama. Go back, go and look for the video. If you didn't learn anything, learn from that one. Tinubu can be very bad, oh, but understand that the Westerners, they don't want your good. So they just want to release it now because of what? What is their reason for doing it? You think about it. Unless if maybe they try blackmail Tinubu to get something from us. Maybe Tinubu never concur. So they won't cause chaos. Or they want to cause a problem for him. It is the game. They don't like you that much for them to give you something. You people are a joke, a lot of you in this country. The youth, sometimes you people need to pay attention to how these Westerners work. They just won't wake up, say, okay, yes, Nigerians, it's time for you people to have the evidence that Tinubu actually dealing in drug. I mean, I'm curious to know which pattern Tinubu use and the type of drug where he sell. Whether na Refnor, tramadol, codeine, you know, nicotine, what do they call the other one? Narcotics, you know, cocaine. I'm curious. And the pattern where they sell out, whether I carry out for head, they hawk out like tomato and pepper, or whether, you know, the chains of the people. I am really curious to know. But then again, I'm more bet the US no go still release anything. It is a game. It is a game. So don't get overly excited. That's number one. Number two, at this junction, if they release an evidence that Tinubu actually dealt in drugs, what next? Will you remove him as the president? I'm curious. Curious. Should they go remove Tinubu now as president immediately? Or maybe they plan to use that one for next election. Well, una go don't forget. Because I know now no fit stay on something for long. Next thing now, forget 2027 now, a few people go bring them up, or don't pay a large majority of some people for them to stay. It is a game. Don't get too excited about these people. We are talking about the West. The West don't want your progress. They can't do anything for you. They can't favor you. Don't deceive yourself. They don't like you rich. They know the West don't like you rich. So now, back to the question, sit down and ask yourself, why are they doing it? And why did they not release it? Why are they saying they want to? The US, if they won't release it, you will just meet it online. You will meet it online. What is all these shenanigans for? Think. And Nigerian youth, we need to understand. Else, we might learn, and we might learn the hard way. These people, Tinubu might be a demon, but these people, fear them. Fear them. Fear them. Especially Americans. Fear them. If not, you're going to learn and you will learn the hard way. Don't play.
So guys, a whole lot is happening in this government. So the Tinubu's government is beginning to realize their failure, you know, all what they did, they've not been able to do well, and why they will never get it right. Because as it stands now, just check it out. Recently, Tinubu's government was celebrating that the Naira has stabilized. You didn't know that it was just by patch. That's how they were able to stabilize the Naira. And now that some of those patch have started leaking again, the Naira has started falling and depreciating. Tell me how much they are going to print to sustain the Naira. These things do not work. Peter Obi has given them a secret. Just keep Nigerians productive. You stabilize everything. Even the insecurity is going to be affected, because all this criminality we are seeing will lessen. Even if you don't totally get rid of it, you know, to a large extent, you are going to reduce it because people will be busy working. Now, the Tinubu's government, you look at economy, is zero. You look at security, it's zero. You look at employment, it's zero. You look at, tell me which area you can say the Tinubu's government is doing well. Now, this man has burst the bubble. He said they never knew this is how these things are. That if you are looking at it from outside the government, you will not know how tough it is. He's now regretting that they ever came out to protest against the Jonathan's government. Can you imagine that? That's to tell you that honestly, these people do not even know what they are doing, because Nigerians really want good governance. We are not here for a joke. We are not here for a joke. And that was why during the election, Nigerians refused to vote for Tinubu. You look at his age, you look at his health, you look at so many things. They were busy campaigning and canvassing and telling people that Tinubu knows how to set up teams. Now, Tinubu has set up a team like all his Lagos boys, all of them. He has handed over the security, the economy, everything into their hands. Where is Nigeria today? Nothing is progressing upon we produce oil. No progress. Can you imagine that you sell the same products other people sell, then they are making good money, and you are not making? Instead, you are moving backward. Look at the insecurity. Tinubu cannot even come out to address the nation and to give Fulani headsmen warning. Farmers can no longer go to their farm. The lives of Nigerians have been reduced to zero. People can just be quiet and nobody will even know. Sure, you will not even be captured. You know, some of these figures you see on the social media is what people were told, but the original figures have been swept under the carpet. How people came into Nigeria and just displaced original owners of communities, took over their communities, they are living in it, and the military said they don't know how to go after them. So guys, a whole lot of joke in this country when it comes to leadership. I mean joke. A whole lot of joke. And you just keep wondering, how did we get here and how are we going to come out from this? It all begins with leadership. Leadership, when you have people like Tinubu them who are just there for their own personal interest, they are looking at how they'll be able to. Sometimes I just keep wondering, what else is Tinubu looking for when it comes to money? Tinubu, what else do you need? As a former governor, you are on life pension, salary every day, every month. As a former senator, you are on life pension. Your wife, a former senator, life pension. Tinubu wants to become president so that you will equally be on life pension. Now only you, Nigeria, they create Nigeria for. Now only you, Tinubu. And you know you don't have anything to offer Nigerians. You just came out of the bush, tell us it's a Milocom, it's Yoruba's turn. Now look at where the country is. Buhari is now worshipped like a king. Recently, Atiku and what's his name, Rufai, took their team to go tell Buhari to support them. Before you know it, the APC chairman took his own team to go and meet Buhari. People are now rushing to worship Buhari in a country that Buhari was said to have taken Nigeria 100 years backward, left heap of debt. Nigerians were shouting. Now Tinubu, within the space of not even up to 2 years, has even surpassed by far what Buhari borrowed in 8 years. You know, now Buhari is seen as a saint. Buhari is being worshipped because of poor leadership in Nigeria. People who commit criminalities are being worshipped in this country. So guys, a whole lot is needed to fix Nigeria, and it begins from you and I. Let's stay active on this political field. Let's do our best. Let's not say because the system has been rigged, because the system has been structured in a way that it will favor their criminal actions. Let's not throw in the towel. We'll keep fighting until Nigeria is rescued, because guess what? If you and I don't benefit from this system, let's be able to make it in a way that our children will benefit from it. Anyway guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.